Midnight passed without ceremony, which made it feel heavier somehow. We were positioned along a narrow ridge line, stretched out enough to cover ground but close enough to hear each other breathe. Below us, the valley disappeared into darkness. Above us, the sky was clear and crowded with stars that felt completely disconnected from where we were. I lay prone behind a shallow scrape in the dirt, rifle pointed down slow, my eyes straining to separate shadows from movement. The wind carried sound strangely up there. A scrape of rock could mean nothing, or it could mean everything. Fatigue pulled at my thoughts, but I kept forcing them back into line. This was not the place to drift. The radio crackled softly. A report from the far end of the ridge. Possible movement. Unconfirmed. That was enough to tighten every muscle in my body. I adjusted my position, shifted my weight, and waited. The first shot came from below us, followed immediately by several more. Muzzle flashes flickered in the valley like brief sparks, and we answered almost at once. The ridge lit up in short bursts of fire, controlled and deliberate. I focused on my sector, firing where movement had been called out, then pausing to reassess. The sound rolled upward, echoing off the terrain, making it hard to judge distance. Rounds snapped overhead, close enough to feel the air move. I pressed lower, steadied my breathing, and kept working through the fundamentals. Fire. Pause. Adjust. Communicate. They tried to climb. That was the moment the fight sharpened. Movement uphill is slow and exposed, and they knew it, but they pushed anyway. We increased pressure, denying them space, forcing them to ground. My shoulders ached from recoil, and my elbows burned against the dirt, but none of that mattered. The ridge had to hold. Time blurred. Again, the fight felt long, but it probably wasn't. Eventually, the volume of incoming fire dropped off. Then it shifted farther down the slope. Then it stopped. We stayed exactly where we were. Weapons trained. Ellos, fix it. Waiting for the return that sometimes comes when you let your guard down. But it didn't come. The valley settled back into silence, broken only by the wind and the quiet movement of us checking on one another. As the hours passed and dawn began to thin the darkness, the ridge looked ordinary again. Just dirt and rock. Nothing special. It was hard to believe how much tension it had carried only hours before. When we were finally relieved, we moved off without looking back. The ridge stayed behind us, another unnamed piece of terrain. But for me, it became the place where patience mattered as much as firepower, and where holding ground meant more than advancing. Sometimes the mission is simply to remain alert and unbroken until the night decides to let go. Thanks for listening. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more.